Hey everybody, I'm Bill Warner with Ontradot. Hey, I want to talk to you about a really important subject that's getting hotter and hotter and hotter as the weeks go by here, and that is the management of your supply chain. Many of you are now saying to yourself, I don't have a supply chain. Oh, yes, you do. Even if you're a services business, I bet I can prove to you you have a supply chain. What's going on here is it's heating up quite rapidly. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't see something written about some aspect of supply chain management. I follow McKinsey, as you probably well know, and to get ready for this week, where the whole week is posts about supply chain management, one full day of them came from McKinsey. The other 4 days came from Forbes magazine. So I follow those two. I follow some others. But look, I'm urging you, if you're not following what's going on in supply chain management, I urge you, get on with it. You just go Google on supply chain management, small business or corporation, whatever qualifies the segment of the market or the industry that you're in, follow what's going on. Believe me, I think at the end of this video, you'll know that you are potentially impacted by what's going on in the supply chain. Let me explain more. But first, let's do the Untitled advertisement. I'm urging you again to subscribe to the Untitled YouTube channel and particularly focus on the Entrepreneurship in Action playlist that is right there on the page you enter when you enter the YouTube channel. Take a look at it. There's lots of videos in there that are on many subjects of entrepreneurship, and this one on supply chain management will be there too. So subscribe now and follow us also on our Ontradot and Bill Warner Facebook page. And you can follow us on YouTube, as I just mentioned, where all of these videos go, and they're well organized and they kind of look pretty good. Almost like a semi-pro put them together. So, end of advertisement. Let's get on with this very important subject. There are new imperatives. I'm going to take you through all of them here as I roll these out. One is existent already, and you're probably quite familiar with it. And the other three you may not be so familiar with, but the focus on them is incredibly more important. Let's go through them. The first one is one you usually think of when you think of supply chain management. That is the direct suppliers you have for components and materials, even services, whatever it is that you're getting from other companies that become an integral part of your development process, your marketing and sales processes, whatever they may be. They are a supply chain. Now, you're probably noticing by my words, I'm broadening the definition of what supply chain means in this video. To most people, supply chain means stuff, components, raw materials, like semiconductors, which you're reading a lot about today, and the lack thereof, and what that means to people. But I'm broadening the definition of a supplier to those that also supply products that become integrated into your offering, whatever it may be, and service providers as well. So the first and foremost is those people who supply components and other deliverables directly to you. You must know where you stand with them. You must have a process by which you're monitoring the delivery of what they've committed to you. Because if that supply chain is disrupted, it's of course going to disrupt your company. So I'm urging you, be current on what the demands are right now for certain supplies, if you will. Read heavily. Understand what's going on in all the industries that are part of your industry or could impact your industry. So the first imperative is continue to watch for your direct suppliers and have the right processes and procedures to manage that aspect of your supply chain. I'm urging you, though, to go on to another level of scrutiny. Not only your direct suppliers, but the suppliers who supply them. I call them indirect suppliers. These are companies that are the suppliers to your direct suppliers. So you want to know that not only can your direct suppliers deliver what you're contracted with them for delivery, but they are in good shape in getting delivery of the components and raw materials and whatever else they need to produce what you want. So now you have two levels of detail behind what you're getting from your direct supplier and understanding what's impacting them. See, the name of this game now isn't just manage the direct supplier, it's make sure you know what else is going on that could impact them. You want to protect yourself in so doing. So you read up on, consult with consultants who know supply chain upside down, inside out, and backwards. Use Google as your friend to do the research necessary to find articles that are pertinent to your supply chain, both direct as well as the indirect. So that's a dimension of this you may not have thought of, and it's particularly important today because things are really disrupted, mainly from the pandemic. Lots and lots of companies have been materially shaken in terms of their ability to deliver, mainly because they're losing employees, or employees have to work from home instead of the manufacturing line, or they have to work from home because somebody's got to take care of the kids, things like that. You know the story about the impact of the pandemic. I'm not going to try and teach that to you. I'm urging, though, that you take a look not only at your direct, but your indirect suppliers, those suppliers that provide materials and services to your direct suppliers. That's the second level here of imperatives. The next one is your customers. Of course, your customers have customers. Their customers may be in trouble. So you want to know how your customers are doing, because if they are doing poorly, then you're going to do poorly because they're not going to need your products and services as much as they did before. So your relationships with your customers have to be greatly enhanced and much more involved in understanding where they're at. Now, you do this in such a manner, though, that you are not threatening them, or, you're showing a true concern about their welfare, because your welfare is dependent upon them doing well. So in your relationship at very high levels in the company, you want to understand what's going on with their supply chain and what's going on with their customers who may have been impacted. So there's a direct and indirect relationship here too, in terms of your customers' impact and being impacted by their customers. You must understand this. It's going to have a material effect if there's an upsurge or a downturn in their demand for your products and services that you have to factor into your overall supply chain plan, don't you? You got to know what's going on with them. It's the demand side of the supply chain. Demand is from customers. You want to know, is this demand going to be changing one way or the other? That takes some know-how and some really solid, trusted relationship with your customers to make sure that you're aware of what's impacting them. That's the third imperative. Here's the fourth, very analogous to customers, is your partners. You have key partners for the delivery of services, key partners for the delivery of end products, manufactured goods, things like that, that are perhaps not something you directly sell, but become an integral part of solutions that you're delivering. You integrate some of what they have, software and hardware, into your solutions for your customers. Now, if you're just like with customers, if your partners in business are impacted by COVID-19 or anything else in the supply chain that's going south on them, you need to know. So analogous to the relationships you have with customers, you need to have the same kind of relationship with partners. Same kind of trusted relationship. You're all in this together. I think ought to be your viewpoint of this. and that you're trying to understand their needs as they understand yours. So where go your partners may impact your revenue as well if they are not able to provide the products and services that you need to integrate into your solutions for your customers. So those are the four imperatives I'm talking about. Mostly up until COVID-19, people think of supply chain having to do with your direct suppliers. It's much broader. And even in the importance of this has been brought out with this pandemic, how important it is because there is so much upheaval in about every industry you can shake a stick at as to how this pandemic has affected them. As they are affected, you're going to feel some of this pain too. Now, when you read all sorts of articles in Forbes and McKinsey and just plain old Googling supply chain for your industry, you're going to run across lots of articles about wonderful new technology that's based on artificial intelligence software and neural networks, all driven by real-time data analytics analysis and cognitive computing. Whatever other buzzword you could put on these things are wonderful things in the making. I stress, in the making. They're not here yet today in any form of completeness. Do not let this new technology talk, although it's exciting, divert you from the four imperatives I just got through talking to you about. That is your primary goal right now. You do want to take advantage of new technology, but I think you should be taking it in small bites. You must keep your imperatives in check, complete and understood. And as time goes on, you incorporate new technologies that further automate supply chain management over time. Data analytics is going to lead the way. You can count on that. Knowing how much and when is pretty darn important, and in real time, that's coming. How that gets calculated by artificial intelligence, what actions can be taken automatically, and what we know about the future through neural networks and by association with whatever else is going on in the world is way down the road. Stick to your knitting. Deploy new technology as you can to further improve the basics of these four imperatives I just took you through. So in the basics, what you're really paying attention to is these four things. Choose the best and most reliable suppliers and have them prove it. Know their capabilities and have a good solid relationship with them. Trusted relationship. Make sure that you do have real-time visibility and current visibility as to what's going on in all forms of your pipeline. All these imperatives, all of the supply chain avenues that are relevant to your company. Really understand the current and anticipate as best you can the future threats based on what you're learning. Through these relationships, you're going to make certain changes and you're going to foresee some. What you're trying to crack the nut of is being able to foresee supply chain problems rather than just happening to you in the moment with no warning of it. You're going to create your own warning as best you can. You still may miss a few, but if you have some foresight based on these trusted relationships I got through talking about, you got a better chance of coming up with the response before it happens, minimizing the impact on your business. And my final thought, as I probably said now 7 times in this whole video, is these relationships are built on trust. That's the core of all this. You're all in this together, whether they're direct, indirect, whether they're a customer or a partner. You want to have trusted relationship with all of these kinds of companies. And it's mutual trust. So build on mutual trust and you'll go a long way down the road to having a successful supply chain experience. So there you have it. Broaden your perspective to all of these 4 imperatives and have a thoughtful deployment of your supply chain and the deployment of the processes and procedures that you use to manage it. Focus on the basics, be good at it, and you'll have a really great day every day as your supply chain is much more responsive.